Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And for the sake of this video, we're going to be doing a TV series review. And I'm going to try and lump them all in one video. I might do separate videos for these series, maybe sometime down the line. But right now, I'm just doing an overview of the 4 shows that are currently on, they're currently on NBC. And they're all created by Dick Wolf, and it's all the Chicago shows. I'm talking about Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, and of course the newest series has been on for a couple of weeks, Chicago Justice. Now, of course, it's all been created by Dick Wolf, who of course created the Law and Order franchise. So now he created a new franchise. Now, one thing that I have to criticize Dick Wolf on is that he's not very creative when it comes to titles of television shows. What I mean is he's creative with the characters, he's creative with the individual shows, yes, but not for the titles, because he had Law and Order, Law and Order Special Victims Unit, which is still currently on the air. He had Law and Order currently on 10, Law and Order Trial by Jury. There was another Law and Order show with about actual film, actual trials were going on. And now he's doing the same thing, but for the city of Chicago, like he did for the city of New York, which publicized all those Law and Order shows were, of course, from here in New York, and they're all part of the same, pretty much the same universe. Now he's doing the same thing with Chicago, and created 4 shows rather quickly. Within 5 years, he has 4 of these Chicago shows on television on various nights. And of course, one of the better ones of the whole 4 series right now is, well, it's too early to judge the Chicago Justice because it's only been on for a couple of weeks. But actually the best one, the one that kicked off the whole franchise, was Chicago Fire. Because of course it's obviously a firefighter show, and it's definitely the best firefighter show that came on the air since Emergency. The show Emergency was about 40 years ago in the 70s. Chicago Fire, of course, based on one particular firehouse in Chicago, like it had Engine 51, squads, Ambulance 61, also a squad, firefighter squad. It's kind of like a rescue squad, and it also had an ambulance unit in there as well. And that show was definitely one of the better shows of this genre, of the Chicago universe genre, and it kicked off the whole franchise. And of course, each show was a spin-off for the one before, kind of like Star Trek. With Law and Order, even though Law and Order were spin-offs, they're all, once in a while they have a crossover with some of the characters from one series will on another, but it was few and far between. They're all in their own little universe, pretty much, for the most part. But for Chicago PD, they all interact with the Chicago universe shows. They all pretty much interact with each other from time to time. Because you see one character for one show on, let's say, Chicago Fire, and Chicago Fire cast sometimes on maybe, let's say, Chicago Med, or Chicago Justice maybe on Chicago PD, and vice versa. And they interject the cast once in a while for maybe do 1 or 2 scenes, maybe. Or in some cases, they actually do an actual case and evolve from one show and progress to all 4 shows, as they did when Chicago Justice premiered. So I'm going to discuss the first spin-off, which of course was Chicago PD, because the Sergeant Voight character was actually a villain in several episodes during the first season of Chicago Fire. And of course, the premise was that Matt, firefighter Matt from the Chicago Fire show, actually caught Voight's son, who subsequently got killed off in the Chicago PD show. That's the previous season, 2016-2017. I should say the 2015-2016 season. Hank Voight's son was killed off. So he says, they're trying to rescue people from an car accident scene, and Matt noticed that Sergeant Voight's son was drunk. And of course, Sergeant Voight trying to get Matt to not fill in the report saying the son was drunk. He said, "No, I'm not going to do it." and of course Roy was harassing him and giving him crap. And then eventually, of course, so they brought him. Matt brought charges against him for harassment and all that stuff. He was went to jail for a little bit, and the charges were, of course, were eventually taken care of. And because people were so interested in his character, they gave Jason Bigg, who's played Sergeant Roy, his own show. So that was the premise of that show. And of course you had because of the show was so successful, they had Chicago Med. They always have references to Chicago Med when the paramedics for Chicago Fire took somebody to the hospital. You have little glimpses of the hospital. They said, "Oh, that'd be a good idea. Let's make up a hospital show." So Dick was saying, "Oh, let's make a hospital show," and he took the brother of one of the Chicago PD characters, Homestead, and made him a doctor from New York, who transferred from New York to Chicago. Was a doctor in New York, transferred into to Chicago Med in Chicago because it was a newer hospital, and they brought him in. And occasionally you had Oliver Platt, who played the chief psychiatrist in Chicago Med. He appeared sometimes on Chicago PD as an advisor, and sometimes he appeared on Chicago Fire once in a blue moon at the bar that some of the firefighters owned, Molly's. So that's where they created Chicago Med. And ironically, one of the characters from Law and Order, who played Sergeant Van Buren, is on Chicago Med as a administrator of the hospital. So you have S. Mercer Milkerson as minister against Dick Wolf, and she was really the only character from Law and Order to be on Chicago, or the only actress, I should say, who appeared for years on Law and Order. Is now on Dick Wolf's new franchise, Chicago franchise. Fortunately, nobody else from Law and Order has made appearances yet, but not quite. You had, of course, now you have a spin-off of Chicago Justice, Law Show, and they took John Cena's character, Antonio Dawson, and made him into an investigator for the Chicago State's Attorney's Office. And of course, the lead character on that show, I forgot the actor's name who plays the part, so excuse me, during this review on top of my head, he was supposed to be the son of the Michael Maloney character in Law and Order. And he did have one character from the Law and Order show on Chicago Justice, who played former District Attorney Robinette, who was the original, the only black character on the original Law and Order cast back in 1990. Made one appearance, and they talked about Mr. Stone's father, who happened to be Ben Stone from Law and Order, the Michael Maloney character. They talked about stories that Robinette mentioned why he left the District Attorney's office. This was never really explained in the original Law and Order show because of how he was treated like crap by Stone, so that's why he left. And he said, yeah, that's the reason why I don't have any contact with my father, because he treated my mother and us and me like garbage. He was never there because there was always some case coming up, and he was never there for us. He was never there for my mother and I. That's why I don't communicate with him. So they have references to what happened on Chicago Justice, and I think Chicago Justice has the potential of being a good show. Chicago Med is more like ER. When ER was good back in 1994, when it premiered in 1994, it was good for the first 6 or 7 years, and then the show fortunately lasted another 8 years, which was way too long. Especially when all the cast members left. And you notice the cast members of this series are going to leave at one time or another. They had sorry about that. There was a couple of cast members from Chicago Fire that left. One character was killed off, like Shay was a hot blonde, paramedic. She left, and you had another cast member left for Chicago Fire. But you know that on the other series, you're going to have characters that are going to be leaving these shows, because these shows are very, very good. And I suggest anybody to watch, especially if you be a Dick Wolf fan. And now we understand it's going to be a new Law and Order show. First time in years there's a new Law and Order show going to be coming on. Talking about, I think probably more a documentary style series instead of a fictionalized version of real life stories, which Law and Order is famous for. And talking about actual true, and I think it's called Law and Order True Crime, which eventually I'm probably going to review when that show comes on. So that's been a little overview of the Dick Wolf Chicago shows. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my videos now on my YouTube channel at realityseed.com. There's OWDY and then seed.com. There's a homepage of the Reality Viewer, Christy Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.